Assalamualaikum and good morning. My name is BINTI RAHMAD. Today our group will talk about needs analysis. These are my group members. We have AISYAH and FARHANA binti Rahim. I will begin with the emergence of needs analysis before defining needs analysis and the categorization of needs. Then AISYAH will talk about the types of needs analysis, when to conduct needs analysis, and the individuals concerned in needs analysis. Finally, FARHANA will discuss how needs analysis should be conducted and why needs analysis is necessary. Okay, let's start. So, the term analysis of needs was initiated by Michael Philip West, a British teacher in India during its colonial period in 1926. So at the time, he discovered that students were learning English with a lack of motives. So the term for this kind of situation was TINO, or teaching English for no obvious reason. This term was invented by Abbott in 1980. So Michael West had the idea that learners' needs were always able to be perceived, but only in a vague manner. And obviously this is not enough. So according to him, an analysis of needs specifies why learners should learn the target language and how they should learn the target language. I would also like to add that another researcher with the name Richard West mentioned that analysis of needs establishes what the learners will be required to do with the target language in a target situation. So a target situation is the situation where learners will be using the language that they are learning. Okay, so needs analysis only reappeared and gained popularity in language education in the 1970s. And it became popular because of two things. First, the appearance of ESP, or English for Specific Purposes. And second, the work of the Council of Europe. ESP is the English language instruction that seeks to address the learner's objectives, be it academic, occupational, technical, technological, and so on. When the term ESP was created, an association was made between ESP and needs because, well, there has to be a purpose as to why we learn English and the needs that we have to fulfill in order to design an effective lesson and thus achieve this purpose. Needs analysis then became important in the ESP course design. Now, how did the Council of Europe contribute to the popularity of needs analysis? The Council of Europe proposed that language learning becomes effective and successful because of the identification of what learners need to do with the target language, not because of proficiency in the language components. And then they invented the term Common Core, which refers to the notion that even if learners develop their own motives for learning a target language, they still share particular interests with each other. And this notion, Common Core, becomes the basis for the implementation of needs analysis in language education. Okay. Now, what exactly is needs analysis? According to Brown, in the educational context, needs analysis is a series of systematic steps taken in an effort to understand learners' needs. So when we are able to identify learners' needs, we use them to create learning objectives. And then, based on the learning objectives that we created, based on the needs, we can develop instructional materials, learning activities, tests, the strategies for evaluation, and so on. Okay, let's move on to the categorization of needs. There are several ways to categorize needs, and one of them is proposed by Brindley and Robinson. Brindley and Robinson suggested that needs can be categorized into objective needs and subjective needs. So objective needs are derived from factual information about learners, such as their background information, how much they have mastered the target language or their language proficiency, aspects of language that necessitate extra support or instruction, or the perceived difficulties, and their demand of language in real communication situations. Objective needs are collected by the teacher, so they don't take into account learners' perceptions. Subjective needs, on the other hand, are the language cognition and emotional needs of learners. According to Juan, they are derived from learners' affective and cognitive factors. So these factors are the learner's disposition or personality, their expectations or goals, their self-esteem, their attitudes towards learning, and so on. From here, we can see that subjective needs take into account learners' insights or learners' perceptions. Another way to categorize needs is proposed by Hutchinson and Waters, which is learning needs as opposed to target needs. So learning needs refer to the steps that a learner must take or what a learner needs to do in order to learn. According to Juan, it is a route between the starting point and the destination. Basically, the starting point is the lags, and the destination is necessities. But we will discuss what lags and necessities are under the target needs. Learning needs are therefore more concerned about the process of learning. It's not product oriented, it's process oriented. Target needs, on the other hand, refer to the steps that a learner must take in the target situation. It's what they need to do in the target situation. Under the analysis of target needs, needs are separated into necessities, lags, and wants. When learners fulfill necessities, they can perform adequately in the target situation. Or as Richard West stated, necessities are what learners have to know in order to function effectively in the target situation. Now, lags are the points where a learner shows deficiency, or the gap between learners' current proficiency and their target proficiency. Finally, wants are learners' individual aspirations and ambitions in terms of learning. Hutchinson and Waters said that wants are what the learners want, or what they feel they need. So, all right, that's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nur Ashraf with metric number 153816. I'm going to continue this presentation by explaining types of needs analysis, when to conduct a needs analysis, and the individuals concerned in needs analysis. First, we will go through with types of needs analysis. There are 5 types of needs analysis as synthesized from West 1994. In his paper, West pointed out that needs analysis can take the form of target situation analysis, deficiency analysis, strategy analysis, means analysis, as well as language audit. The first one is target situation analysis. This type of needs analysis is the most mainstream kind of needs analysis. It specifies necessities or objective needs to discover the proficiency learner must have or must develop for the target situation. Moving on to the next type of needs analysis is deficiency analysis. This analysis detects lags and wants and also detects what learners may need for the target situation in terms of language. To put things into perspective, Smith and Arun 1980 as cited in West 1994 postulated that with deficiency analysis, curriculum planning is executed with the target situation as well as learners' wants and lags serving as its foundation. Next is strategy analysis. This type of analysis assists in ascertaining the strategies of learning that the learners are more partial to. For instance, the substance of the lessons, favorite teaching aids, how they wish to receive correction, as well as how they wish to be evaluated, and so forth. When strategy analysis is conducted, it is possible to deduce the best ways to teach the target language. However, the issue with strategy analysis is that the learners and the teachers' understanding of effective methods of learning can be different. The fourth one is means analysis. Means analysis highlights the best possibility of the learning situation, leading to success as well as highlights limitation. Means analysis considers the learner's frame of mind, the learner environment, the accessibility of teaching aids, the abilities of the teachers, how the execution of strategies can be done, and so on. The final form of needs analysis is language audits, which was described as the all-encompassing form of needs analysis as it does what target situation analysis, efficiency analysis, strategy analysis, and means analysis do all together. The difference lies in the fact that the implementations of language audits exist in a wider scope, serviceable as the foundation of whichever organization's standard practice, including that of minister and thus not limited to academic institutions. Next, I will continue with when to conduct needs analysis. West 1994 proposed in his paper that the execution of needs analysis should be prior to the course, which is offline analysis, as the course begins, which is online analysis, and as the course is proceeding, which is ongoing reanalysis. So the first one is prior to the course, which is offline analysis. In an effort to ensure that needs analysis be continuous, it ought to be carried out time and time again. So the teacher and learners will fill out questionnaires to make known their requirements and their needs. So the reason behind all of this is that the learners could be misguided in forming their own judgment of what they need in learning, and because their perceptions may change, the analysis may not always be error-free and thus need to be re-examined. So as we can see here, there are the upside and the downsides of prior to the course, which is offline analysis. So the upside of it is teachers will have enough time for the curriculum and learning resources to be produced. And while the downside are, as I mentioned earlier, the learners could be misguided when deciding what they need in learning, and learners' perception may also change. So the analysis should be re-examined. Online analysis, on the other hand, allows for preciseness and credibility. However, the endurance of online analysis, preciseness, and credibility is limited because learners' perceptions of their needs can change even during the progressions of learning. And the other downside of online analysis is that it's only affording only a short time window for devising a syllabus. So this justifies the importance of ongoing reanalysis. It is a solution to the downside of online analysis, which is limited endurance of the credibility and preciseness of analysis because of change in the perception of learners. So even the teachers' belief about the needs of learners can change. So this is why they need to reanalysis, so that teachers and the learners can find exactly what their needs in learnings. Lastly, we're going to look at the individuals concerned in needs analysis. Needs analysis in the best possible way should entail the thoughts of the teacher, the learners, and the sponsor, all of whom shall work collaboratively. As synthesized from West 1994, learners who previously experienced the course, individuals who presently are in the target situation, as well as experts, may also contribute intelligence to needs analysis. This is for the reason that credibility is formulated with the inclusion of multiple perspective in the analysis. That is all from me. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Hello, my name is FARHANA binti Cik Rahim. My metric number is 152006. I will continue on how to conduct needs analysis. There are 3 stages, but each stage contains a few steps on how to conduct it. The first stage is to make preparation for conducting needs analysis by 5 steps. The first one is determining the reason for conducting needs analysis. This is where the user of needs analysis establish whether they are attempting to highlight necessities, lacks, or want. Next step is determine the population of students, which could be done in 2 angles. The first one is by analysis scope. which needs analysis can be executed range from classroom, school, district, national, or international. The second angle is analysis center of interest. That could be English for academic purpose, which narrow to writing, oral, reading, or by English for occupational purpose, which limited to health industry, journalism, and so on. User may as well establishing the approaches such as grammar, translation method, direct method, and others. The syllabi also could be specified, such as whether they are task-based, skill-based, or others. Identifying limitation often pertains to situation, not language. Include the accessibility of resources, the teacher's capability and attitude, the period and frequency at which language learning can occur, and so on. The last step for the first stage is sorting out the way data should be gathered through questionnaire, interviews, observation, documentation, and so on. Next, the second stage on how to conduct needs analysis is implementation of needs analysis, which begin by accumulation of data. This step is accomplished by establishing the question that will be put forward and use of ideas for the design of question by Patent 1987 and Rosset 1952. Patent 1987 and Rosset 1952 presented that the design of question to included in needs analysis, which deliberate over the learner's learning experience, outlook on their learning knowledge, issues that have been encountered, what they feel should take precedence over the others in language learning, what they are able to do with the language, and so on. For the stat data or information analysis, user may do by taking on the quantitative or qualitative approach. However, the employment of qualitative approach is more prevalent than quantitative approach. The utilization of triangulation under qualitative approach in needs analysis in order to strengthen the data and information evaluation. Triangulation entails the use and inclusion of diverse words from different authors with different standpoint on the subject matter. The purpose of triangulation is to reduce bias, increase validity, and create credibility. Final step of action for this stage is deferment of analysis outcome, which place paramount importance of data validity, credibility, transferability, confiability of analysis outcome are important. So, the researcher or user of needs analysis cannot be biased. The last stage on how to conduct needs analysis is utilization of the needs analysis findings, which is by deciding on the language program objective based on the needs analysis findings. The researchers may gain an understanding of elements that come into play in fulfilling the needs of learner. The next step in examination of needs analysis and writing of report, which should justify on how the needs analysis is conducted, information about those taking part in the analysis, how data is gathered, the dissection and discussion of findings, the objective created based on the finding of needs analysis, and as well as a conclusion. Next, why need analysis is necessary? Sulistani 2018 made an elaborate list of why needs analysis is necessary. For the first one is to need the ascertain the language demands of the target situation that learners ought to fulfill in order to complete their duty. The second reason is to verify whether learners' needs are attended to with the current course. The third one is to distinguish the learners whose needs are not met and thus require extra or a different kind of language instruction. Other motives for needs analysis are to calculate how far the learner's current level of language proficiency is from the expected one, as well as discovering the issues encountered by learners. June 2014 informed that needs analysis may as well ensure learning resources designed by the teacher and the institution be learner-centered technique of teaching conform to learners' need, language instruction, produce intended result, and so on. So, the conclusion. Needs analysis help teachers, learners, and sponsors achieve effective and successful language learning by shedding light on the needs of learners. To implement needs analysis in language education, it is crucial to recognize what constitutes need. The type of needs analysis that befit the purpose when it should be carried out, the perspective that should be considered, as well as the procedure for accomplishing needs analysis.